So today we're going to talk about something really important that you wear on your head when you are doing any kind of motor racing activity. And that is, of course, a helmet. We're going to talk about this because, well, I've just got a new one. So this is my older helmet that I've been using for just hire karting. I've had this for about 7 years. It looks like it's in pretty good condition, but a closer inspection and you'll see that it is starting to get a little bit frayed on the chin stay and things like that, or the chin strap, sorry. Yeah, you can use these for 10 years under Karting Australia rules, and then you've got to upgrade them. So I've got about 3 years left if I wanted, but yeah. There's a few things about this helmet which I need something that's well, to cut to the chase. I have a steaming up issue when it's colder, when it's wetter, and I need to do something about that, because what you end up doing is you end up driving around like that, right? That's fine in a hire car, I can deal with it. It probably provides the same amount of protection as someone cycling with glasses on. But when you've got the whole field around you in a faster car, and maybe you're in wet weather and it's kicking up all kinds of stuff, I don't want my visor open at all. I want it pretty well shut. So this has been good. The main reason I got this, you might wonder, just for hire karting, is the ones you use when you go to the venues. A lot of them have damaged visors, and I like using visors, and also they can be a bit on the nose if they don't get regularly cleaned. This one is mine, so it's only me that I have to worry about, and you can remove the lining. Just put it in the washing machine, so that's been pretty good. About $150 for these. Yep, RJ's Apex 2, and for about $20 extra you get another visor. So obviously clear for wet weather and driving in the evening, and this is another tinted visor. The wider tape is just because I'm sensitive to sunlight. Sometimes in the evening the sun's really low, and I thought I'd do something about that. So these clip on and off really quite easily, and it's done the job. I'm going to keep this probably still for hire karting, but for racing I thought we needed to up our game a little bit and get something that doesn't steam up as much. And so I went all out and I got, it's kind of like an industry standard, this the Arai helmet. This is a GP6S. Nice, lightweight, ticks all the safety boxes. I did want to probably get the GP7, which has 2 vents. This is one which you can shut or open, and I think that will probably be adequate. I've already tested it, and I find that even if it was really cold weather, I can still shut this pretty much. And even if I don't lock it in place, you find that it does actually pretty much go all the way down. So there's an extra layer of protection there. Orders of magnitude more expensive, I won't lie. And the visors, interestingly enough, which I've got a few of, because again, the second it goes into wet weather or in the evening, Karting Australia say, yep, change to a clear visor. This visor cost about the price of the other helmet. So I've got a few of those because they're just harder to get at the moment. The helmet itself is a blank canvas. What am I going to do with it? Well, I'm not going to do anything about it, because if I did, it would be like me using crayons on it to do something. It would be horrible. So I'm going to give it to somebody who's an airbrush artist, and he's going to make this a little bit more interesting. And if you stick with me in the video, you're going to see what we are going to do with this in terms of a personalized design. So it's been about 4 weeks, and I've just got my helmet back with a custom paint job on it. So shall we have a look? Big reveal? There you go. What do you reckon? Now, obviously, a custom paint job, it's going to be quite subjective as to whether you like it or not. But for me, yes, I like it, but it was really close to what I wanted. You've always got to give the artist a little bit of an opportunity to join the dots how they see fit, because that's what they do. And no, I think it's great. I think it's really, really good. Probably better than I thought it was going to turn out, actually. What's the design based on? Okay, so if you're a motor racing enthusiast of the late 80s, early 90s, you would already probably think, that looks a little bit familiar. And it is familiar. It's not a replica or anything close to a replica, but it's loosely based on some of the ideas that you would see in the Nigel Mansell helmet. That was like a starting point for me, because he was somebody I was massively inspired by. Inspired as a competitor, but also to get into motorsport. But I wanted some things that were different. So his helmet was based on essentially the Union Jack. Now, I was born in Britain, but I spent most of my life in Australia, my entire adult life in Australia. So I wanted a lot more blue, and I actually like blue as well. So the front, this is actually more reminiscent of what you see his youngest son Greg driving, with blue at the front. But again, it's different to that with larger white stripes as well. I went with one red horizontal stripe, and again that allowed more blue on the helmet, and that more blue is more reminiscent of the Australian flag, and of course the Southern Cross is very much an Australian thing. But also I'm a bit of a amateur astronomer, so that speaks to some of my other interests outside go-karting. Some of the stickers on it, well, they're not actually stickers, it's part of the paintwork, like the Arai things. I wasn't sold on that. I didn't want any of that initially, but it just fills up the space. And ultimately, had I driven with the helmet as it came out of the shop, it had those on it. So particularly the one here above the visor. So I said, yep, that's fine. And name as well. I wasn't totally sold on having my name on it, but it filled the space, and I think it actually does look pretty good. There's still a few little tweaks that the artist is going to do, because believe it or not, when you get a helmet, they're not totally symmetrical a lot of the time, so everything has to be a bit of a compromise when you have a symmetrical design, so it fits around it as best you can. But some of the vents are going to be tweaked a little bit after the meet in Whyalla, which we're going to today. Okay, so what are you looking at if you get a personalised helmet, cost-wise? Well, how long's a piece of string, right? So first of all, there's the helmet. I got that at Autosport. Wanted a decent Arai helmet. I've already covered that and the reason why. And that cost me $1,200. And then the series of visors that I got, just to make sure I had some for all occasions, that took me up to $1,700. And then there was the design itself, which, you're not going to get, you're probably going to start around $1,000 for a really good established artist. And there's two kind of trains of thoughts there. You can get it airbrushed or you can get a wrap. And I went with airbrushing, which is, I think, an incredible skill. Some say it's a bit of a dying art, unfortunately. But I think it's really quite amazing what they can do with it when they're really left to go to town. And I went with quite a simple helmet in terms of what can be done. A lot of people you'll see have all kinds of textures and designs. It's very complicated. But because of this, I could get it done for me in a reasonably short period of time. So, yeah, starting price probably around about $1,000, depending on how complicated your helmet design is. I had, as I say, an established artist who runs the Airbrush Venturi franchise in South Australia, Ray. He's been doing it for many years, and some of the other drivers actually knew of this franchise because he'd gone to their school back in the day to teach airbrushing. So he's been around a long time, and he's done other helmets because he's got two sons that have driven while driving in motorsport, and has played around with some helmets over the years. So if you want a wrap, I can't really speak to that too much because I haven't had it done, but I have seen some really awesome wraps done on motor vehicles for off-roading and things like that. So I can see how that also has some real merit. It's going to depend what you have in your area, who's available, what the cost is and also what the time period is. So for me, I inquire with a few different people, because different people have used different airbrush artists, but I couldn't have got in for about 6 weeks for some of the others, and this got done in 4, which is awesome. So I'm really happy with it. Now the last things are just some personalized items, and that is, well, not just personalized, they're practical as well. So you'll notice on my older helmet, when I was running my previous website design, I hate driving into the sunlight. It's a real problem, and I found with the meets I've already done, experienced late nights, evenings, low sun, and early mornings. And we're gonna have the same this weekend at Whyalla, both early mornings and late nights. So I experimented with 2 different sizes. This is on my older helmet, and Jeremy from Signs Designs and Things Online, he's done all my stickers over the years, and some of the artwork. I've basically tried 2 different sizes. That was meant for a really low sun, but it turns out it's too big, so I don't really use that. This one actually has done the job for all of the driving in the older helmet. Jeremy did some more strips for me, 2 different sizes again, now with X-Karts that have been supporting me with the current karting chassis. I drive for them, and that's the standard size that comes with the Arai helmet. That's the larger ones that I got made just for a lower sun. I'm not sure if they're too big yet, hoping it's the right size. And with that in mind, what I've done is I've already applied one for the night driving, and if it rains, and that's what I'm going to try for the day driving. But I can just as easily take it off and put a thinner one if I have to. I'm not sure how this is going to sit on my head yet, so we're going to find that out this weekend. But that was only about $100. So all in all, I'm looking at just short of $3,000 for the really good helmet, a really good design, and the stickers on the top. And yeah, I'm stoked, absolutely stoked. You can't miss it, and I think that was the idea. So we'll see how it goes this weekend, and yeah, hopefully it will be something that I will keep for all of my karting. And even if I got a new helmet, I think I'd probably go with the same design.